Hope for a definitive end to the war is once again becoming a central topic on the global agenda. Even within the Kremlin, despite the ongoing hostilities, there is an increasing emphasis on finding a diplomatic resolution to the conflict. The spokesperson for the Russian President Dmitry Peskov on Tuesday, February 24th, the anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, emphasized that Russia allegedly remains open to achieving its goals through political and diplomatic means. According to him, the hope that the conflict could be resolved through negotiations in the near future has not left Moscow since the very beginning, which at least provides a fragile reason to discuss peaceful scenarios. At the same time, according to Peskov, Moscow is specifically hoping for peaceful negotiations. He cynically referred to the occupation of part of Ukrainian territory as ensuring the safety of the people who lived and continue to live in eastern Ukraine. According to him, this was the main goal of the war started by Russia. However, the full objectives of Russia's war against Ukraine have not been achieved, which is why the special military operation continues, he stated. At the same time, Peskov claims that Russia supposedly remains open to achieving its goals through political and diplomatic means. There remains hope that the conflict can be resolved through negotiations. This hope has not left us since the very beginning. Our position is well understood and consistent. Now everything depends on Kiev's actions, the Kremlin representative said. At the same time, he complained that the so-called special military operation has turned into a large-scale confrontation and, as expected, blamed Europe and the United States for this. The Kremlin representative also emphasized that these are very important 4 years in the life of the country. The country will move forward, and of course these 4 years will forever remain in people's memory. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called Paris and London's intention to provide Kyiv with a nuclear bomb a blatant violation of international law. Have you already heard our parliament's calls to colleagues in England and France to take action for parliamentary investigations? This is a blatant violation of all norms and principles of the relevant acts of international law, noted the spokesperson for Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Commenting on reports from the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service that allegedly France and Great Britain are working on providing Ukraine with a nuclear bomb, as well as the means to deliver it. According to the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, with such a weapon, Kyiv, in the opinion of Britain and France, would allegedly be able to claim more favorable terms for ending the hostilities. This refers to the covert transfer to Kyiv of European components, equipment, and technologies in this field. According to Russian intelligence officers, one option being considered is the French compact TN-75 warhead from a submarine-launched ballistic missile. At the same time, the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service claims that Berlin has wisely refused to participate in this dangerous venture. The circulation of nuclear weapons in the world is regulated by the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. France or the United Kingdom have never declared any intention to provide Ukraine with any elements of such weapons. Ukraine has also never officially declared an intention to regain nuclear weapons, although it has repeatedly pointed out that the guarantor countries of the Budapest Memorandum signed in 1994 have not fulfilled their obligations under the agreement. The Ukrainian authorities believe that NATO membership is the only real security guarantee for the country. This was reported by the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in December 24th. The ministry officially released this statement shortly after Reuters reported that there is currently no consensus within the NATO alliance to invite Ukraine to join. It is important to remember that Ukraine voluntarily gave up its entire nuclear arsenal after signing the historic Budapest Memorandum back on December 24, 1994. Thus, although Peskov acknowledged that the goals of the war have not yet been fully achieved and the operation is ongoing, the emphasis on the diplomatic track appears to be an attempt to find a way out of the large-scale confrontation. Peskov called these 4 years defining in history, emphasizing that the further development of events now largely depends on concrete actions and the willingness to engage in dialogue. Despite accusations against the West of escalating the situation, the rhetoric about the possibility of ending the war through negotiations remains the main message of this week and this year.
The Pokrovsk direction today is one of the hottest spots on the map of hostilities, where the enemy does not stop trying to break through, using everything from aviation to the tactics of covert offensives. But standing in the way of these plans are those for whom the motto always first is daily work under fire. The 25th Sysheslav Airborne Brigade is a unique unit capable of full parachute deployment, currently defending the approaches to Pokrovsk. Joining us now is the brigade's battalion commander, Alexander, call sign Zakar. Alexander, welcome. Glory to Ukraine.
Glory to the heroes. Hello there.
Dear viewers, I would like to address you. It is for our heroes, our defenders from the 25th Sysheslav Brigade that we are raising funds for drones today. For 6 hours, while Inter is broadcasting the telethon, the donation details, QR code and card number for this fundraiser will be displayed on your screens. Please join in. Let's support our paratroopers who have been defending us for 12 years of war. Let's support them with our donations. And remember, there's no such thing as a small donation. Mr. Alexander, a few words about the fundraiser. Could you please clarify exactly which drones we are raising funds for today?
In general, we are collecting for FPV drones and related components for them. Right now, the war dictates that whoever controls the sky also succeeds on the ground. That's why we invite everyone willing to join our fundraiser, to become part of those who are destroying the enemy on our land.
Dear viewers, please join in and let me emphasize once again, remember there is no such thing as a small donation. Every hryvnia matters. Mr. Alexander, could you please tell us what the current situation is in the Pokrovsk direction in your area of responsibility?
Currently, the situation in the Pokrovsk direction is tough. The brigade's units are striving to destroy the enemy, stop regrouping, and prevent them from gaining a foothold in the city.
And what is the enemy's current tactic? Has it changed recently?
Basically, the enemy's tactics have not changed. They remain the same. Small infantry groups, concentrating at one point and then advancing in groups to another point.
Mr. Alexander, the 7th Air Assault Corps reported just the other day that the enemy is trying to use the heavy fog as cover during their offensive. Can you tell us how the current weather conditions are affecting the situation in this direction and the nature of these assaults?
The worsening weather conditions are affecting aerial reconnaissance capabilities. It becomes somewhat more difficult, but nevertheless, the units on the front line continue to observe, detect the enemy, and destroy them.
Dear viewers, I would like to address you once again and remind you that today we are raising funds for drones and their components specifically for our heroes, our defenders from the 25th Sysheslav Brigade. Please join this fundraising effort. The fundraising goal is ambitious, 500,000 hryvnias, but together over these 4 years of the full-scale war, we have already raised millions of hryvnias. We have completed thousands of fundraisers. Let's close this fundraiser today and help our soldiers collect as much money as possible to destroy the enemy in the Pokrovsk direction. All those occupiers who are advancing on our land and started doing so 12 years ago. Please join in. The QR code and card number are on your screens. It will be available now and throughout our broadcast until noon, so please join in and remember that every hryvnia you contribute matters. Mr. Alexander, earlier the 25th Brigade reported that the Russians are trying to complicate the evacuation of the wounded and the supply of provisions to Ukrainian fighters. What is the situation now? How is the logistics currently?
There is logistics, it exists, but not in the volumes we would like, yet still, it is there. Yes, the enemy spares nothing, meaning they spot evacuation groups and actively target them. They target logistics as well, but again, all necessary measures are being taken, and we continue with logistics.
And how is the evacuation of wounded soldiers going? How much more difficult is it now?
The main complication comes from the enemy's active operations. Secondly, it's due to poor weather conditions. In general, we can carry out logistics either with evacuation teams or with ground robotic systems.
Mr. Alexander, can you tell us what losses you're able to inflict on the enemy's personnel and equipment?
In a single day, enemy losses can reach 20 personnel or more. The enemy does not stop attempting assaults both during the day and at night, regardless of bad or good weather conditions. In other words, there are constant active assault operations.
And dear viewers, so that the enemy suffers even greater losses in both manpower and equipment, I remind you that a fundraiser is ongoing for our soldiers, for our defenders from the 25th Separate Airborne Syczeslaw Brigade. Let's help our defenders. You heard from Mr. Alexander that the situation near Pokrovsk is difficult. There are problems with evacuation, but our soldiers are holding their ground. They are standing and defending us all despite everything. So let's support them today with our donations. Right now, our soldiers are raising funds for drones and parts for them. Join this fundraising effort. Remember, every hryvnia should be fighting. Our soldiers, our defenders know how to fight. For them to work effectively, they need more tools, and drones are exactly those tools. So let's help our brave soldiers and complete this important fundraising drive, so we can purchase the drones that destroy the enemy, their hidden shelters, and their military equipment. Please join this fundraising effort.